Clearly, we don't usually release midweek. Our releases are Saturdays, 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Time, because daylight savings and standard, we still release at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
We haven't adjusted because daylight savings is the worst. Clearly, we don't release at this time usually. This is, for at least this release, going to affect our schedule. We are now pushing back our entire release schedule by a week, just to give the video the space it deserves to sit there, to have people interact with, and for us to release a bunch of shorts, because that's where we generate most of our views. So this Saturday, there will not be an episode released at 10 a.m. For those people that do watch us regularly, thank you so much for everything so far. It's been an absolute fucking crazy year where I don't know where you thought we would be at, but we are just way above and beyond where we
I didn't think we would be taking this as seriously as we are.
And now, fucking right. We've taken time out of we both have full-time jobs, and we've taken time out to be like, no, we need to talk about this.
We bought lights.
We bought lights and lapels that we no longer use.
Well, then we found this studio, and it has microphones in it.
Exactly. And we will use those labs for other things. But we put a lot of effort in. Thank you so much for watching us. We will be back for our regularly scheduled content on the 15th at 10 a.m.
15th of February,
15th of February
2025,
where I believe, is it an interview or is it a core episode?
Oh, I cannot remember.
I think we're introducing our first of our new format as well.
I don't know. Stop. I don't know if that's true.
No, I'm saying it now. Fuck yeah. And if I'm lying, you can just bleep me and be really funny.
Hang on, let me do the math.
Paradox Engine was last. So
it'll be, no, it is the interview with Ruby.
Yeah, it's a special guest interview, baby. Guess who was right? Still bleep me anyway.
And if you watched our last episode, you know exactly who it is.
Anyway, thank you so much. And let's get to it. This episode of Casual Compliance is brought to you by Fleist. We're flying quickly into a reactionary content for the first time in our careers. Hi, I'm Gramps.
Hi, I'm Chilibin.
And on Casual Compliance, usually we talk about the casual format of Commander by talking about the ban list. But instead, we've been blessed by the Gavin Verhey gods. Literally...
There's really just one of them.
Yeah, basically, yes. The Gavin Verhey has blessed all of us Commander players. Within the last 24 hours, we've seen a massive... It's not really an update, is it? It's more of a...
It's the release of a beta program.
Yes, and the beta program is, hey, here's how you can have healthy conversations with your cohort.
Yeah, it's the release of brackets.
And something we've been long awaiting for, really. When we even spoke about it when the even before I think the CFP first came in.
Yeah, because I think the RC was talking about it as an idea before everything happened.
It's really good to see that they've leaned into it. And from the read, which we are going to go very into, it's very good, in my opinion anyway.
Yeah, and I think we spoke about this when it was first mentioned last year. Question mark?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Question mark. Yeah. We've been doing this for just under a year.
Yeah.
So,
I think we spoke about it then, and because their language was very much like, we're not trying to tell you how to do things.
Yeah.
This is more just a tool to help you have a pre-game conversation so that the game you end up having is better for everyone. It gives that kind of like level playing field idea. You're all like roughly evenly matched.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be this hard and fast. These aren't rules. These aren't how you have to play Commander now. Yeah. This is some tools.
Yes.
That you can choose to use.
And that's really, I guess, the good core of it right out the gate is Gavin talks about, setting expectations around the information being shared. It's not, this is what we expect you to do and you have to do it and you have to live by it. If you've already been having fruitful, conducive Rule Zero conversations or pre-game conversations or safe play conversations or whatever the hell you want to call them, keep doing that. You know, you're not expected to stop. This is just for people who are struggling to have them, or if you're going to an LGS, and this is an amazing tool for LGSs who have, unsafe plays. Is that what it's called?
Untrusted pods.
Untrusted. So any LGS that has untrusted, pods, this is an amazing tool because what this sets up is it sets up 5 brackets.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, please. Let's actually just go through it.
Yeah,
think,
absolutely. Right? So you're setting up 5 brackets. You've got Exhibition, you've got Core, you've got Upgraded, you've got Optimised, and then you've got the cEDH bracket.
Is that what they call it?
Yep.
Right.
No,
Okay.
bracket 5 is cEDH.
It's like, you know what it is.
Exactly.
Let's not kid ourselves.
And then additionally to that, each of these brackets mentions something called a game changer list.
Get ready for a game changer.
We've been here the whole time.
I have to get that out of my system.
Please stop ignoring us and answer my emails.
Every time I go to look at this list, it's capital G, capital C, game changers.
Yes.
And I can't get Sam
I'm
Reich
going
out
to
of my
call it
head.
the Sam Reich list,
Yeah.
actually. Sam has a lot of opinions about this. It gives you 5 brackets. It actually describes to you as well. They've told us the way we can use these brackets to discuss the levels of our deck, and more than just a power level. Congratulations, everything's a 7, no longer exists anymore.
Well, it's also getting away from this idea of trying to put a specific label number, pigeonhole your deck as X.
And also these cards have specific point values. Yes, there's a game changer list, but it's less about the cards having point values, kind of like 7-point Highlander and the rest, and it's more about if you have X amount of these cards or these kind of synergies, you are not in this bracket.
Yeah.
I like that it doesn't just look at an individualized card, which is what a lot of the ban list looks like when you look at it from a top-down angle. And what we try to do here is we look at the card and how the framework around it makes it absolutely trash. This is doing the same thing.
Yeah, I think we've gone through roughly half of the ban list at this point.
Yes.
There are definitely themes
Yes.
and common refrains in the ban justifications of like, so this idea of like, oh, every deck will run this because it's powerful and it's colorless.
Yeah.
Right? Like there are things like that show up the more you look into the actual ban reasons. But if you look at one card in isolation, sure, it might seem like, oh, why this card? It's not that bad.
And so as of this recording and as of this release, there are no new bans. The last ban was Nadu and 3 other cards no one really cared about. So right now they haven't changed anything. It's just, here's a suggestion on how we recommend you go forward. Yeah. And with their setting expectations, they do mention that. Nothing's changed. Play how you want to play.
Yeah.
Have your conversations how you want to have. It's more really to guide us who, want to do a bit more in that untrusted play space, and for LGSs to really say, we are going to use the bracket system to guide our spaces. Things like Cozy Magic Fest, could genuinely use that to set up untrusted play spaces now.
Yeah.
The other thing they say is this is not a fix for people who are not actively engaging in healthy conversations around the game.
Yeah, I think, it's like...
It's not a fix for bad actors.
No, like you will still run into shitheads everywhere you go. A document giving you guidelines on how to have healthy conversations is not going to fix that.
Exactly. You can't point to the webpage and say, hey, you brackets.
Yeah.
You can point to the webpage after the game and say, hey, this is where you lied about this. If someone wants to lie to you for their little power struggle, awesome, they have that game, and then you just never sit at a table with them again. No redemption allowed.
No. I think, if it's like the first time you're playing a game of Commander with someone and that's what they go for, it's like, okay, you've just written yourself off.
Exactly.
Sorry.
And then the last thing, I guess, is he's really stressing, I guess it's a vehicle for the CFP, really. It's the console format panel. Gavin Verhey is the voice and the announcer, but the CFP has put so much effort into this.
Yeah, like this is by no means a Gavin solo effort. Like there are 17, 18 names on that format panel.
Yeah.
Shout out to them, because I have to imagine the conversations about like how the brackets are structured and the reasoning and the specific cards that they have put on different, like the different cards that they have named in parts of this this release. Those would have been, I don't know if I'd say difficult conversations, but
they wouldn't have been easy.
There'd be a lot of back and forth for some of these.
And then they've even mentioned there's different levels of play in that Commander format panel. There's people that are purely cEDH advocates, and there are people that are very much on the casual end of play advocates. So you've got a bit of both. And then our man AOC, who's very much specifically on rules and rules education and player experience, and his love for the thing. I feel like he sits very well in the middle of those two blocks.
Yeah.
But the fact that they want feedback on this.
Yes.
It's not just, oh, hey, here's this. Anyway, job done.
Yeah.
It's not Gillan McLaughlin and the AFLW. It's
It's
a very Australia-specific joke.
Hyper-local reference.
For our 95% American viewers.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Google it. We didn't fix women's sports.
Yeah, Australian rules football is a wild time.
So they want the feedback. They're looking for the feedback at MagicCon Chicago, which should be happening pretty soon, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think also like reach out to your local Commander Format Panel representative. Chances are there's someone near you.
Or go onto their social medias.
Yeah.
They said that there's a Commander section on the Wizards Discord,
Yeah.
which would be a great place to give you feedback.
Yeah.
Or their social medias. Go to the Cursed Lands of X and go to
find them anywhere else.
Wizards. I genuinely don't remember their thing on X anymore because it's a hellscape.
I don't know.
But find Wizards wherever the social media is and let them know what you think about this. Is the tuning wrong? Try making a deck for your bracket and have your pod play that bracket and see does it make sense. Anyway, why don't we get into the brackets then, and let's have a nitty gritty. Is there anything else you think we?
No, I think let's do that. I am very curious about bracket number 1.
Yeah. Well, there's a bit of an overview, and we'll go through the descriptions as well. But they talk about game experience with brackets 1, 2, and 3 being specifically about social play.
Yeah.
And then 4 and 5 are on the higher power 7 or higher deck experience.
We have to stop using those numbers.
Well, thank God we don't have to anymore. We now only have 5 numbers. He's halved the count.
Yeah, I just think like as much as we're trying to like help this system get a good chance at working, like we need to stop using a 10-point scale as a reference. Like I get it, we don't have anything else.
Well, now we do.
We do. It's so frustrating.
My deck's a bit of a 7. It's got a Thassa and
demonic consultation
combo that I can
but
get
just
on
those
turn
2,
0.
no tutors. Don't worry about it.
Leyline of Anticipation, and I will mulligan down to 2.
I'm running a lot of artifacts and instants, and I'm gonna copy Isoconceptor and put all sorts of janky shit under
it. And then Exponential Grape Shot. I run Paradox Engine in my deck.
Do not.
One of the things that they have actually kind of spoken about is mass land denial is being more important in the discussion.
Yeah, like calling it out specifically.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they do actually specifically call it out. They talk about Armageddon, and they've got Winter Orb. They've got Sunder. It's in. Go to the article, check it all out. Make sure you do. We're just going over some of the nitty gritty.
Now, how did that section strike you as an Armageddon aficionado?
As an Armageddon aficionado who also, what did I call myself in the one with Ruby? I said that I've got stocks in Armageddon because I know it's not going to be banned, and then this comes out.
I know.
Far out.
Just white knuckling reading the brackets update.
So like as someone who plays Armageddon,
I don't think I've actually seen you play it. So
suppose you haven't played that deck yet.
Yeah.
And someone has just put Contamination into his Esper Stacks deck, which is if you tap a land for anything, guess what? You didn't. It's only black.
Right.
These can be pretty shit. The one our mate Alex has just put into his Magar deck is Pox, which is a bunch of sacrifice. You're sacrificing. I'm going to get up on Scryfall.
You get it up. I didn't think to just have Scryfall open. Now I do.
So, Pox,
which
is a 3-cost black sorcery from printed in Masters, originally in Ice Age. Each player loses a third of his or her life. Then discards a third of the cards in his or her hand. Then sacrifices a third of the creatures he or she or they controls. Then sacrifices a third of the lands he or she or they controls. Round up each time. So this is a Magar, which is when he attacks with a face down.
Combat damage.
Yeah, on combat damage. If he deals combat damage with Pox as it's a creature.
A face down creature.
A face down creature that is Pox. He flips it up, the effect happens, and then it keeps that as a creature.
Yeah, you cast a copy of the spell for free.
If he can do multiple combats and stuff like that, he's put that in his deck. Now, what's really interesting is the conversation I've had to him is prior to the announcement.
Right.
So we didn't have this information in our knowledge when I've had the conversation with
Yeah,
them about
yeah, yeah.
putting Pox in Mega. So I couldn't say, does it fit in the bracket
Yeah.
system? Is it mass land denial,
Well,
all that stuff?
And I know I've spoken about this previously on the show. Like when I was trying to find a mono black deck to build, when I was going through that thing of like, let's do one of every single color.
Brazer is a nightmare.
No, initially it was going to be Rankle Master of Pranks, but
yeah.
I was planning to build it as mass discard.
Yeah.
And the reason I didn't is because I watched something where Rachel Weeks was talking about mass discard being just categorically a bad time.
It's not fun.
No,
it's
like
not fun
unless you're in that kind of competitive environment where you're doing everything to win, right?
Yeah.
Sure, fine.
Yeah.
I had like a full deck ready in Moxville, and then I was like, you know what? Delete this.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Like I thought about that experience for like 5 minutes, and I was like,
what I did with Rakdos and the all will be one combo with the Kingpin, Captain Kingpin. I was like, this is fucking boring.
yeah. But I think like that same idea of like, it's interesting they've called out specifically mass land denial because I think it shuts off so many things.
Yeah. And I mean, they describe that as cards that destroy, exile, bounce, or remove the ability to change or to make mana from 4 or more lands per player without replacing them.
Yeah.
So, removing the ability to tap for any mana, I guess, is the important part here. So, cards that change the way mana taps, like Urborg, Javamaya, aren't mass land denial.
No, they're like in addition to their types.
That makes it a forest.
Blood Moon, though.
Yeah, Blood Moon that is definitely,
Yeah.
because they are mountains. It's
Yeah.
not they're also mountains.
Yeah.
They are mountains.
Yeah.
Mass land denial is mentioned.
Yeah.
So is combos, extra turns, tutors. That's all self-explanatory. It's things that you will find frustrating, and then they also talk about the game changes. We'll get to the list of the game changes after we talk about the brackets.
Yeah. Cool.
First bracket, we are talking about exhibition. Exhibition is less about winning.
Yeah.
I'm learning that I'm an exhibition player I'm a bracket 1 player who plays with bracket 4 decks.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Winning is not the primary goal. So,
Yeah.
and my favorite thing in this in the mention is like it's about type pool.
Yeah.
It's about the art. It's about the cost.
Okay. So the thing is like, I have decks that I built with that kind of mindset, but they've ended up kind of strong.
That's
like,
what I mean. We are exhibition players with bracket 4 decks.
I think the first deck I built along these lines was Wilson, Refined Grizzly, and Flaming Fist. The green-white Baldur's Gate pairing. It was fancy art, fancy lads and finer things. So, because Wilson's got his little potion, he looks very refined, and then it was just like anything with treasure or gold and like fancy shit. So there's a ton of like new Capenna cards. It's like a bootlegger stash in there. But the point is, Wilson ends up with double strike from Flaming Fist.
Yep.
And then I've also got Raised by Giants in there, so he ends up as a like 10-10 double strike
double
commander.
strike very quickly. Yeah. Very quickly.
Yeah. And then the other one was my mono green vehicles deck.
Oh, I haven't played that yet, but I'm very excited to.
The commander is Galter,
I forgot about that.
where it's cost reduced based on the biggest power that you have. And so the idea is like just stack up vehicles and have vehicles crew vehicles until you've got a really big one, and then Galter comes out for 2 green.
Yeah, basically. Far out. It just reduces that cost.
It's so fun.
So there's this one, and they give you your deck building advice if you're building for this bracket. And so for exhibition, very clearly, no game changes.
Yeah, right.
Very clear.
Just none.
No game changes. No intentional, and I like this wording, no intentional infinite combos, 2-card infinite combos.
Yep.
No mass land denial, no extra turn spells, and shooters should be very rare.
Yeah.
You should not be having shooters.
Let's be honest. We've all built decks and then worked out during a game, I think I go infinite here.
I've done that
Right?
so many times.
I was looking at my Merfolk deck because I was like, I couldn't remember the cards that I know are an infinite combo, a 2-card infinite combo in there that's pretty easy to achieve because it's Wonderwine Prophets.
Yeah.
Which is like champion a Merfolk. We sacrifice one, and then there's another, forget the name of it. I'll put them up here. There's another Merfolk that creates one, and when you champion a Merfolk, you take an extra turn.
Yeah.
after this
So
one.
you just go, oh, cool. Turn
So
after
if you get
turn.
those 2 out, you just loop, and I'm probably misremembering that because I didn't
Well,
think
don't
to
forget
pull
they
it
made
up.
a precon. The Is It
Yeah.
precon from Bloomborough.
Yeah.
Literally had a 2-card infinite combo in it.
Yeah.
Super
that's right.
accidentally.
But a fun thing I learned while trying to remember that combo is that if you go to Commander Spellbook, not a sponsor, I'm just giving them a shout out because this is
love
rad
you.
as hell. If you go to Commander Spellbook, you can paste a link to your deck list on sites like Moxfield, and it will scan the entire list and show you combos that are infinite combos that exist in your deck.
I'm gonna do that for Alloro. I want to know.
Yeah, I want to know how many.
Because I put the Marauding.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But so it showed me 2 infinite combos in that Merfolk deck. One is the one I just described.
Showed you another one?
The other one is using Doppelgang and would require me to have, I think it's like 18 total mana available to make the combo happen.
So it's one of our infinite combos.
No, because it's got like either double or triple X in the cost for Doppelgang. So you need to have it equal 5. So it's 15 generic plus 2.
The cost for Doppelgang?
2 plus Cynic.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Fucking hell. Yeah, so that's it. I like the deck building advice.
Yeah.
I think that it shouldn't have tutors at all, in my opinion. I think tutors are for higher level play. That's my opinion. I think because they remove the variance of the experience and create a very fixed experience, I don't think tutors should be in this level. I actually honestly don't even think that tutors should be in the second bracket. So second bracket is core.
Yep.
This is the core experience. Basically, it is the pre-con level.
Right.
This is pre-cons.
Just out of the box.
They don't have every single optimized card. They're not 10 out of 10s, but it has a chance for big wins.
Yeah.
There is tuning for potential big moments. There's tuning for strong engines, but it's not consistent. And the games generally, they even give us a turn counter. The games generally go for more than 8 turns.
Right.
And they're unlikely to end in a coalition victory.
I mean, nothing should be ending in a fucking coalition victory.
Well, we'll get onto that.
It's banned.
For now, baby. Until they watch the video with Ruby.
No.
No, because that wasn't coalition
Paradox
victory. That was
engine.
Paradox Engine. I'm fucking stupid. But I'm banned that too. So it's unlikely to end out of nowhere. Big swings happen.
Yeah.
And the other thing as well is, these are the decks where it's really well optimized, but you also got the cute cards that you like. You're like, it doesn't really go well in this deck, but this is one of my favorite cards, so it's going in.
Yeah.
It's that passion deck that has the potential to do some big hits.
Yeah.
The building things in there, once again, no cards from the game changer list.
Yep.
Very important. It should be really interesting if any precons have fucking game changers.
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I mean, it does give us a good idea of maybe where their design head is at going forward for Commander.
Yeah, maybe.
If that's the case.
Yeah.
No intentional 2-card infinite combos again, or mass land denial. Extra turn spells can appear, but are not intended to be looped or
Right.
chained.
So you can get 1. That's fine.
No, I'm hearing my Minotaur deck is pretty safe at the moment with my my Miracle Temporal Mastery. Which I got to go off.
No.
And shooters, again, should be sparse. I don't think... I semi-disagree here with this one.
When they say tutors, what kind of cards are we talking about?
We're talking Diabolic Tutor. We're talking about Demonic Tutor. Honestly...
like black tutors?
We're talking about tutors in general because they haven't given us a specific one.
Right.
But let's be real. We are talking black tutors. I think even though Mystical and Idyllic Tutor still remove the variants, I still think...
Well, I think there's a difference between like a non-black tutor that gets you a specific card that you then have to reveal.
Yeah.
Those I don't mind too much.
Yeah.
If I see a black tutor where you just get a card, put it in your hand, done, no one knows
Diabolic,
what
maybe?
you got. Demonic, Vampiric.
For sure. Yeah. Profane.
Profane tutor. You don't need to look it up. But there's also like things that aren't instants or sorceries that will do the same thing where you go search for anything, put it in your hand. My point is like, I think even at bracket 2, I wouldn't mind non-black tutors because they are more specific. It's like Idyllic Tutor, you have to go get enchantment.
Yeah.
From memory.
Like Elvish Harbinger, you tutor for an elf.
Yeah.
I don't actually know if it's a reveal or not, but I know you tutor for an
But
elf.
you would have to reveal because it's a specific card type. Because otherwise you could be lying. I think the reveal is in there to
Yeah.
stop that.
You are correct. Look at you go.
Yeah,
From the dual decks
that's
anthology, elves versus goblins.
That's a fucking game design.
Look at you designing games.
Yeah. But yeah, I get where that's coming from. It's like tutors kind of suggest a level of I know exactly how I intend to win this game. I'm going to go find that card.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Whereas like when I'm using Elvish Harbinger, I'm usually just trying to find another elf.
Yeah.
Usually a Llanowar.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's core 2. It's the pre-con level. It's not ultra casual. It's not hyper competitive. Mm-hmm. It's what I think is the LGS experience that most people are going for between 2 and 3. So bracket 3 is upgraded.
Okay.
So take your pre-con, soup it up. Mm-hmm. Alex, looking at you. Make your pre-con fucking gas.
Where does the line end on upgraded pre-con? So where does it step up?
So the line ends, and we'll get to that. The line ends. Let's get to deck building now. The line ends on upgraded pre-con to 3 cards from the game changer list. Okay. It's very interesting that they've gone with a specific number here, but 3 cards from the game changer list.
I think elsewhere in the article they say like, if you're having that conversation, you go, my deck is in this bracket, but I'm running 1 or 2 extra.
I'm bracket 2, but I have 1 card from the game changer list, and it's this card.
And like, when we've spoken before about pre-game conversations, that's the kind of detail I'm looking for.
Yes.
It's like, give me some specifics, what to look out for.
Yep. If you see these 20 cards, the game's over.
Yeah, but if it's like, I'm bracket 2 and I've got this 1 game changer card, so I want to know what that is.
Yeah.
I want to know why that's in there.
It's not just, I've got a game changer card. It's which card is the game changer that you have.
And it's not because like I want to be a cop about it, because ACAB. It's more just like, as this is written as a tool, it's stepping outside of that sort of agreed mutual system that we're operating in. Anyway, you were going into bracket 3.
No, but that's bracket 3. That's the thing. There's 3 cards from the game changer list. It's the souped up. The cards are selected, or it's gone. When you're souping up a pre-con, you're taking cards out. You are considering the cards that are in your deck and what synergizes better with them. Mm-hmm. So 3 cards from the game changer list is good, but not every card from the game changer list needs to have them in them. Like there are pre-cons can be super powerful even without game changers. Especially
recently.
Exactly. Yeah. Pre-cons are already gas.
Yeah.
And putting a game changer specifically doesn't change that. So that's not the important part here. Yeah, there's 3 from the game changer list, but
which 3?
You could soup up your pre-con and it don't have any cards on the game changer list, and I'd still want to know. Yeah, so we don't need just the souped up. Your pre. I want to know if your pre-con is upgraded.
Yeah.
In general, or even if you've taken an old pre-con that's like a lower power one and you've upgraded, I want to know that, because that does affect that. And yes, if it does have more than 3 game changer cards in it, I want to know. Not because it's like wrong bracket, but just it's helpful to know these cards are the ones that they've told us that they're going to watch.
Yeah, and I think it helps to better describe the strategy of the deck, but also like what I should be looking out for as you're playing through your turns as cards are coming down. It's like, because I know you've identified this 1 game changer card and I see something else that I know would feed into that and synergize with it.
Yeah.
Then I'm starting to think differently about you as a threat in this game, and maybe we do need to target you and start bringing your stuff off the board.
Get you. The moment your commander comes out, it's got to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my Caracas down and...
No, you're not.
My Raucous. So that's the last of our social play brackets. So quick recap. Exhibition. All fun.
Big goofy boys.
Big goofy boys. Not mega.
No way. Dude.
Core is the pre-cons without much change. Or pre-con level decks that have no game changes. And then 3 upgraded. Make those pre-cons beefy. Not specifically with game changer cards, but if you've got up to 3 of them in there, you're in that bracket. Yeah. And when you go beyond that and put more game changers in, that's where it changes.
Yeah.
One of the just to finish on upgraded as well, no intentional early game 2-card infinite combos.
Early game.
There you go.
Right.
I know I emphasized the wrong word, but no early game 2-card infinite combos is very interesting to know. and then the extra turn spell shouldn't be intended, and no mass land denial.
Shouldn't be intended to loop the extra
Yes,
turns.
shouldn't be intended to loop, and no mass land denial.
Okay.
But no restriction on tutors.
Yeah.
Any tutor can be an upgrade. And I agree, like, you know, if you're playing Ixal, Scion of Atraxa, is that the...
Yeah.
that's the Abzan poison counter one.
Right.
Demonic tutors can go on that. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Like,
Yeah.
I'm fully in support of that.
Yeah, go and find a proliferate outlet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Sorry, I'm gonna make Atraxa poison. Anyway,
Don't. I just dismantled my Atraxa deck, dude.
I'm about to.
It's still number
ruin
one on
everyone's
EDH rec.
Yeah, good.
It's insane.
She's the best.
She is great.
So let's get into the higher play. 2 brackets in the higher play. The lowest bracket of higher play is bracket 4, which is optimized.
Yeah.
Which upgraded versus optimized is an interesting one. So with optimized, the main difference is, you know, first of all, there's no restrictions other than the ban list, of course. The ban list still exists.
Yeah.
That's really important to preempt all of that. The ban list still exists.
Yeah, nothing's changing there.
But bring out your big beaters. Massive starts. We're talking the perfect opening turn. 1 land, 1 soul ring, defense grid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, I hadn't seen defense grid before until you mentioned that on a previous episode. And then as I was putting the episode together, I saw it and I read it. I was like, oh, that's fucked.
That's a perfect opening hand, okay? Because it stacks for everyone and everyone should be playing stacks. So bring the best version of the deck you want, okay? It's not about tournaments, it's not about meta games, it's about making the big, beefy, fully optimized, gone to EDH rec, copy and pasted a deck list, printed it off, and then slowly purchase the cards until you have no more house, no more friends, no more family, and no more loved ones. You've taken all of the money that you can and built the deck that you want to take to a thing. And they do mention that for the majority of players, this is the highest power.
Yeah.
Okay. I would honestly say you could put this in the social one, but in a trusted play environment. I was at plenty of games playing Commander with some people, and the day before, the message was, get sweaty.
Right.
And then someone else said, I'm bringing the grossest shit I have. But they're not cEDH level. And even one of them, Benny, if you're watching, hello, mentioned that it was a cEDH deck and he took all of the cEDH stuff out to undo it, but it's still highly optimized. Yeah. And those were some fucking beefy games. Yeah. Super fun, super weird. I got a Minitu's ult to go off after saying I wouldn't, and then won with someone else's poison decks. Thank you, Dylan. But like, yeah, that was a really good conversation. It wasn't a long one. It was, let's get beefy. And so I brought Slivers with me. I brought Aloro. I brought my Stacks deck, and you know, was still able to say, this is the stuff that I'm doing, and even gave a chance for for them to look through the deck themselves and say, this is what it does. Yeah. But it's also, I think with Optimized, it's about the higher, more entrenched players. It's easier to have those conversations in a trusted environment when you know Magic, they know Magic, and you can just kind of say a card name or a type of combo and either ask clarification or you know it, or you know what you're looking for. Yeah. That's this kind of environment.
Yeah, but I think even still, like, there's a certain level of rapport you need to have established with the pod to be able to use those shorthands and have that be a nice, speedy conversation. Like, still, if you're sitting down with someone you don't know, I'd expect a little bit more, even if you both know that you both know Magic, I'd expect a little bit more of like, oh yeah, I'm running like these cards, I'm trying to do this type of thing. These are maybe what to look out for. Like, you don't have to go into the whole deck list. But I think if it's someone you haven't met before, that stuff is still
It's going to be very hard to not have those conversations, you know. And it's still...
I think though, like you're trying to say that like bracket 4 is social. I don't know that like any of this is not social. Yeah, right. Out of this whole document.
Well, let's get to unsociable Magic, shall we? In my opinion, they're gonna fucking hate me.
I know.
Look, I actually don't have anything against cEDH players. I wish I could be a cEDH player, but I don't have the mental capacity They think so much,
Yeah.
and I think it's incredible to watch.
Yeah.
And I love listening to cEDH players talk about the deck design and like the As fans. But fuck, is it not for me?
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I actually quite enjoy watching the Spike Feeders. Their stuff is really fun to watch. It's presented really well. They do a nice amount of like on-screen stuff to help you understand
What's happening.
What's happening.
Yeah.
But I like, through watching their stuff, I've just realized that I don't really have any interest in playing Commander that way.
Yeah.
Like, for me, the draw is the social, casual, specific.
Being able to have a gut laugh at the table and
Yeah,
take
and
that
like,
time.
and that does still happen in cEDH, but to me, it is not stepping into this idea of chasing a meta.
Yep.
And like this feeling of, oh, my deck has to have these cards and it has to work this way.
These 3 cards got printed, which replaces these 3 cards that were printed 2 years ago.
Like treating
have them.
treating it like a problem in need of a solution.
Yeah.
Versus what I've done recently of like, I'm going to build a deck full of walls and sit behind the walls and go into the dungeon a lot.
Pillow Fort.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's fun for
Chili
me.
Beans Dungeon.
Yeah.
It's
great.
great. Out once a week. So cEDH.
Yeah.
We know what cEDH is for you. Those, I mean, our viewers are entrenched players, so we're going to not treat you like idiots. You know what cEDH is. It's competitive. It's the most optimized, no holds barred, play your most powerful decks.
Your deck probably costs at least $10,000 US.
Exactly. You've got at least one Bayou in every deck because everyone knows green and black are the 2 best colors in Magic the Gathering. And there's no restrictions, again, other than the banned list.
Yeah.
Okay. cEDH, and what I really like to think about it is, and it's been mentioned in the article, it's not about self-expression. It's about winning.
Yeah.
Everything prior to that is about expressing yourself, whether it's in a silly, goofy, everything's all 4 cost in this deck, to a, I've got smokestack ready to go.
Yeah. Do you want to know the weirdest like deck idea I've ever had that is feasible? Is every card in the deck has to have the collector number 69. And I will tell you that it's possible, including lands.
Fuck yeah.
But you have to dig through old dual decks. Because
their collector numbers are individualized.
Because they're an individual set just for those 2 decks.
Interesting.
And it is Rakdos.
Oh, gross.
It's not a good deck.
No, that makes sense.
It's not a good deck.
Yeah, but it's fun.
I've like roughly sketched it out in Moxfield just to see if it was possible.
Yep.
I would need to buy some weird shit on Card Kingdom because no one in this country fucking has it.
Yep. No one's bought that set ever. Probably wasn't released here.
Yeah. But I just got that idea in my head one day, and I was like, "Oh, you could do it if you ignore lands." I was like, "No, but what if it was what if it was 100 cards
of 69?
69.
Nice. That's the funny number.
But
I don't know why though.
There's no, you would never do that shit in cEDH.
No, not at all. You wouldn't do it any of them other than the fucking exhibition.
I feel like it's exhibition until you play it and find out it's maybe bracket 2 or 3.
It's got 4 infinite combos and you're like, oh fuck, it's optimized. So yeah, there's our 5 brackets. The last 2 have no restrictions. And what's interesting is the jump, I think, from bracket 3, which is 3 game changes, no intentional early game infinite combos, extra turn spells aren't intended to be chained.
Yeah.
I like the mentioning of intention here, because if it happens accidentally, then you know to fix it next time.
I put a time sieve in a Tivit deck. I know what I was doing.
Exactly. And you could play a deck 10 times and not get that infinite combo to go off. And
Unless
then suddenly it happens.
A handful of tutors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the Pauper shuffle up and play with Spice 8 Rack, where he plays that Rakdos Goblin deck, has the infinite combo, doesn't notice it, so he doesn't play it. And then the second time around is like, cool, I've won the game, I've got an infinite combo. And you see him figure it out.
Yeah.
There's times you have that where you can play a deck 10 times and then suddenly infinite combos.
Oops.
So I like the wording of it, intentional.
Yeah.
And then optimized cEDH, big play, no dex restrictions. So it's very it's a big jump.
Yes.
But it makes sense in terms of the jump.
Is the intent here, man, because I can't remember because this thing just came out. Is the intent here that like a bracket 4 deck is only playing against bracket 4 decks?
No. The intent here is to help discuss the game experience. Because
I wouldn't, for example, ever think a bracket 1 versus a bracket 4 is going to be a good time for
I
anyone.
don't think so either. But it's the thing of they give a list of things that identify with each bracket, right?
Right,
Because you could have a bracket 1 deck that's all 4-cost cards, but it's got 5 game changes in it.
No, it says no game changes. The bracket
Yes,
1.
that's what I mean.
You're right.
Which means it
that's
changes
your conversation.
the bracket. That's the thing. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, it's mostly a bracket 1 deck because I'm trying to do just this one thing.
Yeah.
But by doing just this one thing, turns out
Oops.
there's actually all
Take-
these
and
big
then
hitters
jump
in there.
up from 1 to 3.
Exactly. So it's more. It's less of the intention is bracket 4s go against bracket 4s,
Yeah.
and is a way for you to communicate how your deck is playing. So if I come with a bunch of brackets, but you've only got a bracket 3 with you, or bracket 3 with a little bit of
Spice.
then you can say, look, I don't have something that can go up against a bracket 4 deck. Bracket 4 deck. Or, hey, here's my bracket 3. This is what takes it a little bit out of it. Do you have anything that can fit that? Or if someone's like, or if you've got a bracket 3 and someone's like, I've only got a pre-con with me.
Yeah.
And you can be like, oh, no,
Yeah,
I've got a
I
bracket
feel
3.
like 2s and 3s going together is probably not going to be too bad.
No,
But I think, to your point, like that jump to 4 where it's like
it's quite a big one.
pretty much anything is okay as far as these descriptions go. Like, yeah, that's where like as soon as there's bracket 4 in play, it's like, okay, let's have a bit more of a discussion maybe. I'm curious, of your decks, where do you think most of them sit?
4.
Yeah, I'm feeling
Genuinely
very
4.
similar.
Or 3.
Yeah.
Because of the number of game changer cards in them. But
Yeah.
I would still... Actually, no, I'm going to say 3 for most of them. Because I have really tried to tone down.
Yeah.
Because I like the casual play at places.
I barely run tutors at this stage.
Yeah, I think I've...
For example.
Oh, far out. You know what I'm learning? As I played a bracket 4 deck on Cozy Magic.
Yeah.
The Emrakul. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm a shit person.
Hey, it made for good TV.
It made great fucking TV.
Yeah.
Best Commander show out. That specific episode. It's
very good.
Very good.
Yeah, I think, like, I would say almost all of my decks are straddling that line between 3 and 4.
Yeah,
I don't think I have anything that sits below that.
It'd be nice if
honestly.
there was a tool that they gave us where we can pump it in and would tell us what bracket we're in.
I feel like someone's going to do that because that is basically
you should
just
do that.
Huh?
I feel like you should do that.
I feel like people who are getting paid to build things like Monksfield should probably do
Are
that.
they getting paid to build Boxfield?
They're going to go Patreon.
I know.
Because like it would be relatively straightforward
Yeah, Boxfield, put a bracket checker
to
in.
build because you'd be like detect the number of cards out of the game changer list.
Yeah.
Run it through Commander Spellbook, see if there's infinite combos that they know about.
So what I'm hearing is you've built it.
I've thought about how to build it because I write software for a living. I can't stop my brain from looking at something like this and thinking how you might
It's a
turn
software
it.
issue.
Yeah, turn it into a system. So I think before we go to the game changer thing, I want to try and like workshop what one of these conversations might look like.
Okay.
Right? Because like usually, I mean, quite often I'm playing with people I know, or it's like mostly people I know, maybe one or two that are new. Usually the conversation starts with someone just pulling out a deck and saying, I want to do this.
Here is a Loro.
Yeah. What bracket do you think that is?
I look genuinely bracket 4.
Yeah.
It's got 5 to 8 cards that set off 2-card infinite combos,
Yeah.
and they're interchangeable,
Yeah.
and they can come out accidentally.
Okay.
But it only has 2 cards from the game changer list in it.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, it's incredibly optimized.
Yeah. Great. That to me feels like the type of introduction to your deck.
Yes.
That
And then,
we're
the
looking for.
reaction to that can be something like, cool, what cards from the game changer list
Yeah.
are they?
What
And
are
you
they?
say-
Out of curiosity. I don't remember.
Actually, Bolus' Citadel and
Oh, yeah.
Smothering Tithe.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, sorry, it's got 3. Cyclonic Rift.
Okay. Yeah. Because I think the thing that...
Actually, I think it has more than that.
Yeah, okay,
Looking
yeah,
at this list. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. It's got like 5.
Yeah. I think the thing that
Where's
does...
cEDH?
I think the thing that does too is it like forces you to be more aware of what's in your deck. Like, yeah, you built it, but like I forget half my deck list. I don't remember every card, but it forces you to like think about what you should be telling people ahead of time.
Well, it makes me think of something that we tried to do following in your stead recently, a long time ago actually, was primers.
Yeah.
With QR codes to Moxfield deck lists. Like, here's what the
you
deck
just put the primer on the Moxfield page.
Here's what we thought the power level was when we were still using that. And here's the cards or combo pieces to look out for. So like this replaces that.
I think after this coming out, I want to revisit that idea because I had like, I would have to go and dig through where I found this inspiration. But essentially the idea was design it as a custom Magic card.
Yep.
The picture on the Magic card is the commander.
Is the colors.
You put the colors at the top, and the text box is a very brief description of what the deck's roughly going to try and do.
And if there's any important cards.
Yeah. It's a limited amount of space, which is what sort of always held me back, because otherwise you're just ending up with really small text.
Yep.
But I think in light of this coming out, it could be optimized to say like, this is what bracket it's in. Here's some, game changes and infinite combos and things to like call out, or it's literally just a QR code that takes you to the Moxfield deck list, and you can use the primer on the page, which shows up in the header of the deck list page, and you can put that information there.
Yeah.
To help you also remember what to tell people about your decks.
Yes.
Rather than just scrolling through the list and going, oh, that's in here. Oh, that's in here.
Yeah. And it's a good conversation to have, and it's a good way to have the conversation. And like, you don't expect it to keep every single card from the game changer list in front of you, but you're going to know what game changers you have in there.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
okay, you've put down Laura, you said bracket 4, and then I'm like,
sorry, there's 8 game changers in it.
Okay. I don't think I got anything to keep up with that. Have you got anything else you really want to play? Or like, I've got a couple of decks that might work.
And then I pull out Abomination of Lanois.
Uh-huh.
And say, it's Elves.
This is also bracket 4?
It's bracket 1, but it's actually, you know what? A better example would be a Minotaur. Same colors, still Esper.
Yeah.
But a Minotaur is technically 2 precons smashed together.
Right, yeah.
It's the original Minotaur precon and the newer Minotaur precon smashed together. In terms of game changes, I don't believe I have any in, and I don't believe I have any infinite turn combos, but I do have an extra turn, and the deck doesn't tutor, it is just a top decker. Yeah.
Right.
So it's about bracket 3.
Yeah. That feels about right. Okay, yeah. I'm trying to think of a bracket 3 deck I have. Probably Galter. I'll pull out Galter at that point. Be like, I don't know, I'll see what happens if I run mono green vehicles into that. And I will bring up the deck list for that, because I don't actually know what might be in there in terms of game changes.
I'm looking at the game changer list and I'm like, fuck, Allura has so many of these.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah, let me find the game changer list.
I guess while he's looking at the list and while he's looking at his deck, something to be, I guess, look at is game changers. These cards are, they say, unlikely to be banned, but I think it's a good idea, much like when they released Jewel Lotus, that these cards are going to be looked at, what they're doing to play. My favorite part is how they mention that the game changes where unbanned cards go.
Yeah, it feels like we're putting them in quarantine. We're trying them out.
And if they need to go back, they need to go back.
They need to go back. I've just looked at the game changer list. I'm pretty sure Galter has fucking 0.
Yeah.
Because it's vehicles.
So it's actually an exhibition deck.
Yeah, it's more likely a 1. It's not a 1. No, it's so not. There's a Darksteel Forge in there.
You fucking absolute liar. It's still power. I would say bracket 3 to bracket 4.
I feel like that's one where it's like, I'm going to say, yeah, it's a dumb idea. It's mono green vehicles, but here are some of the cards that I think make it hold up.
And that's what the helpful conversation is. And that's what they say is the game changer cards aren't specifically the ones to watch out for. Sometimes it's just highly optimized.
Yeah, like this Majestic Genesis might fuck you up.
Exactly. It's doing things that do things that game changer cards do, but maybe in more ways. So like tutors and the rest. That's a really common sentence.
Hot card out of Duskmourn, Kona Rescue Beastie. At the beginning of your second main phase, if it's tapped, you may put a permanent from your hand into play.
That mechanic is in Aether Drift as well, where you pay 1 green, tap, creature comes into the battlefield.
Yeah, creature, that's right.
Like, or is it a permanent of any value?
I can't remember.
The card. It's green. It's powerful. It's fucked.
Yeah,
okay.
green
it's
does-
Golta, but worse.
Yeah, green,
it's
green's so good.
Fuck off, green's so good.
I put a Omnath Locus of Mana in there too.
Is that on the list? It's not on the list.
No.
You can put it on the list.
You can remove it.
But yeah, so cards that are being, watched to be banned, and cards that are potentially unbanned, all this is where this list goes. We're not going to list every single card in it. Go to the thing. It'll be on the screen as well. Check it out. These cards are being watched, and these cards are ones you should think about if you're putting them in a decks. The ones that I would like to point out specifically: Smothering Tithe,
Drannith Magistrate,
Jin Cataxia's Core Augur, Tegrid, God of Fright, Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger. If I play against one of those again, I'm never playing Magic again. And the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale.
I'll fucking worry about that if I ever see one.
Fucking Tabernacle.
I love the fact that right at the bottom is Grand Arbiter
Augustine.
Grand Arbiter Augustine the Fourth.
Yeah, which is also an Aloro. Fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
I can't get away from it. But yeah, so that's where we're at. We've got our 5 brackets. We've got our game changer list, the cards they're watching and the way they suggest we talk about and the way we design our decks going forward. You don't have to ascribe by this. Yeah. You don't have to follow it.
I think for me, like this, I think will be a conversational tool that I reach for. I don't think it's necessarily going to change how I build because I'm not really putting that many of these game changer cards in my decks to begin with.
Yeah, I think it's
I've definitely got a bunch of them in like spread across my decks, but I don't think there's one that has more than 5. I don't know. I'd have to go look. But I'm not trying to push the boundaries of how competitive you can make casual play.
Yep.
I am thinking a lot more these days about what's the whole table experience going to be like going against this deck.
Something I just noticed as well, just looking through the game changer list, is those tutors we were talking about, all of them are on the game changer list.
The black tutors?
No, not just the black ones. Enlightened tutor,
Sure.
Mystical tutor,
Vampiric
tutors, they're on the game changer list as well. So, they're still on there for the higher power play. So it is on board with me. I guess the tutors they mean are specifically like the Elvish Harbingers and the rest.
Yeah, I think to me, I look at the game changer list as like not red flags, but more just like those little signals of like, okay, we're operating at maybe a higher degree of power in this deck. If there's a certain number of them, I'm going to ask you to put it away probably. Yeah. Because I don't build decks like that.
And so Magic Con's in a month and they want feedback. Okay, look, we've got 3 weeks, a bit more or a bit less to bring out Magic Con and give feedback because after that, they're going to try and make changes. Yeah. And not in a bad way. Again, change is good.
Yeah, I think that's, how many fucking people play Commander at this point, right?
Majority of Magic players.
And you're going to try and introduce this tool devised by 18, 19 people and say, that's it, we're done? I don't think so. Like, I think it's actually a good sign that they are calling for feedback, specifically calling out Magic Con as like where they want to have discussions and see people try it out. Yeah. Because that is a strong signal that they intend to iterate on this.
Well, they do. And that's mentioned here in the article as well. In March, they want to see what structural changes need to be made. So in April, they can roll out the full system of brackets and any unbans.
Interesting.
Here comes Paradox Engine, baby. Here comes Coalition Victory, baby.
You don't know that. We haven't even done the full ban list, so I don't know.
Rofalos, baby.
Let's bring...
That's going to fuck us if they take something off the ban list. Take Golos off the ban list.
No.
But we all know that they watch our content very regularly. Yeah. So the cards that we've already spoken about, will stay on or stay off. Like, we know you're big fans. We appreciate your patronage. Aaron, I'll talk to you later. Forsyth.
Yeah. I figured.
If you do watch us, please DM me. I just want to say hello and thank you.
Yeah. But I think like something I'm actually quite interested to try with this is trying it with people I regularly play with.
Yeah.
Even though I know what our decks in our regular group generally do, I want to see how they talk about it with this as like kind of a guide of like what things should you call out from your deck, because it would give me an idea of what you would say to a new player. And I think you and I both think a lot about what is a new player like going to think about Commander if they come up against the wrong type of deck or player.
100%. Yeah.
Right? So I think too it would help even some of the games that I get into with friends that I play with regularly. I come out of it and I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't actually think I liked going up against that deck. And I've done it. I'll sometimes like going up against it. Sometimes I won't. And it just depends on, the mood, but also sometimes
What your deck does?
what my deck does and what the other two players in that pod do. And a lot of that is just nobody bothered to have any conversation. We all sat down and just pulled something out.
Yeah.
And we said what the commander was.
And that's it.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And I think
I agree.
that is a problem I find a lot. I'm starting to notice it more. I think is more accurate, is just getting a little lazy with that.
Yeah.
That aspect of like, I know you, we don't need to go into the conversation. It's like, it probably is still worth it.
Yeah.
Even though I know exactly what Aloro does, I know the general shape of it, but I've only played against it a couple of times. I haven't seen every card in the deck.
Yeah.
I don't know what combination I'm going to see this game.
Exactly.
So as much as I will, actually make an effort to try this with new people, I'm also pretty keen to try it with people I know and just see how that game changes as a result.
Yeah.
Pun intended. You heard me. I've been here the whole time.
So look, and I guess in wrapping up Gavin's post is there's a FAQ or an FAQ or whatever you want to call it. If there's any questions that this video has left you with, go check out the FAQ. There's a lot of information on that. And it's important to note as well, we aren't mentioning the weekly MTG stream that Gavin usually does. Go to the article. There's a link where you might be able to watch that stream back as well to get some more answers, because he was fielding live answers, which is incredibly generous of his time to do, and it's really, again, promoting that community. But for us to rush together, get this done in a good way, it's just something that we can't really look at. And so the other thing is all of our regular deck list systems that we use. So the ones that he mentions is Architect. Fuck, I hate that name.
Have you not heard that before?
No, it's so good. It's just hard to say.
Yeah.
Architect, Boxfield, and Scryfall have all been given a heads up on the system. So maybe they're already working on stuff.
I hope so.
You know who they should give a heads up? Casual Compliance, so Chili Bin can invent a system.
I don't think I need to be the one to do that.
You've invented one for me before. I'll get you to do it again. Oh, fuck. Read some of the FAQs. They go through things like game changes have shown up in recent precons.
Yeah.
The one that comes immediately to mind that they mentioned is Jessica's Will was in the fucking MKM precon.
Oh, was it?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh man.
I'm just gonna double check that before I lie to you all. Jessica's Will was in Murder's a Call of Mana.
Yeah, wow.
With really cool art.
Yeah.
But a fucked card.
Yeah.
Silly. That's the same art as Commander Legends one, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the same art as all of it, Jessica's Will, except for Storm's Will, which is pretty rad. One thing I think is really interesting they haven't mentioned at all is fast mana.
Yeah.
I in my opinion, especially with with Aether Drift, again, Radiant Lotus, they have not gotten on top of fast mana. They haven't fixed fast mana with just a ban of Jeweled Lotus, and Mana Crypt was the one that went. Good stuff.
Yep.
They haven't fixed fast mana. Soul Ring still exists, and they talk about that in the FAQ as well.
It's not going anywhere.
I find it very interesting that there's no mention of fast mana.
Because
Soul Ring is a staple.
Yeah, I think.
But
because fast mana, I'm saying it in your accent. Fast mana is how I say it.
Fast mana.
Fast mana.
Fast mana.
It definitely starts to show up more and more as you move up
In power levels,
the sort of power and bracket scale.
But there's nothing precluding a Dark Ritual from being in an exhibition deck.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, I wonder if we see that in an update in future, because that is definitely, like, in terms of the different levels that they're describing with these brackets, that is a big difference that you do see. It is quite pronounced. Like, so, precons, you're generally dealing with, and this is bracket 2, right? You're generally dealing with Soul Ring, 2 to 3 mana rocks, some fetch lands, but nothing crazy. You might have some dorks if you're running elves, something like that.
So I'm going to bring one up to you.
Yeah.
Is something that is not being seen at the moment. None of these things are on the ban list. None of these things are on the watch list. So I'm going to put this out here now. Is turn 1 Swamp, Dark Ritual, Buried Alive,
Okay.
Emrakul,
Reanimate.
The Promised End, Entomb, Reanimate, the rest.
Yeah.
That on turn 2.
Hey, bracket 1.
There's nothing to say like, oh, hey, this is my silly deck where I just
yeah.
reanimate things and I don't play creatures without it.
Yeah.
That's still a massive. That you could reason it'd be really silly, and if you told me that you're playing an exhibition deck and then did that, I would never sit at a table with you again.
I might have words and be like, that's probably something you should give people a heads up
But there's
about.
nothing that excludes that.
No.
From the deck.
No.
From it's being described as an exhibition. I think that's very interesting because looking once again, let's go back to the exhibition deck building. Nothing in the game changer. No intentional 2-card infinite combos, no mass land destruction, no extra turn spells.
Yeah.
The only thing that's in there is Buried Alive is technically a tutor. But tutors should be sparse.
Yeah. I think part of the challenge with something like fast mana is just how you quantify it, right? Like we're saying Soul Ring, fine.
Yeah, but Radiant
Ignore
Citadel, not.
Radiant Lotus?
Well, no, Jeweled Lotus was the one. I'm saying Radiant Citadel now because I have a bone to pick. But Jeweled Lotus, Mana Crypt, not fine.
Yeah, but then it's like, where do you draw the line? How do you define what's acceptable in terms of ramp and acceleration? And what's too much?
Don't forget Dockside was counted as fast mana as well.
Yeah.
That's why I went with our fast mana bans.
Yeah. But like, I think that's maybe a harder thing to draw a line under and say, below this is okay, above this is too much, or is bracket 4 and above. I would hope, I don't know, I feel like I need to try the system out a little bit first.
Absolutely.
See what happens when fast mana isn't talked about, and if I think that would have actually changed what decks got selected or what the attitude was going into the game. Because like, I might have chosen to blow up some of those rocks and dorks if I knew you were stacked with them.
Exactly.
If I knew what would have happened because of you getting those out. I have a suspicion we'll see that maybe in future updates to how brackets are described.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something like similar to the game changers. Like there'll be a number, and it's like you've got this many artifacts that produce mana, or something to that effect. Something like a Thought Vessel though, where it's like it taps for 1 colorless. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, basically.
But your Soul Rings and Signets that pay 1 get 2. You know, things that are producing
very cheap ones.
More mana than you put in, that sort of thing.
I think overall, the way brackets now promote deck building, game discussions, I think it's going to be amazing for the culture of Magic.
Yeah.
For the people that lean into it. There's always going to be the people like, oh, fuck this, you're telling me how to play the game. Oh, well, okay.
It's like, actually, no. This is all before the game even starts.
Yeah.
We're just giving you some suggestions
Yeah.
on how you might have healthy conversations.
Exactly.
Also,
And
we're not, they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know, for us in our compliance, have the healthy conversations, please. It's not
Yeah.
hard. Talk to your friends. Talk to each other.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Be honest.
Exactly. And don't lie.
Practice responsible disclosure about what your deck does.
Yes. And if you have a Cyclonic Rift, fucking tell me so I can counterspell
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I'm going to mulligan until I have a counterspell, and I'm going to hold on to that counterspell until your Cyclonic Rift comes out. So yeah, I think for the culture of the game, this is incredible. It gives a direction of what it looks like for each level of play that they've figured out they have. And now don't forget, they've got an entire team that does psychographics and psychology of play. So they know what that looks like. They get a lot of feedback. I wonder how many people actually do those surveys. Mark Rosewater makes it sound like a lot on his podcast. I think this is in my opinion, this is an outstanding system. It needs tweaks, but it's a very, very good beta. It's very well thought out.
As far as like the first version of brackets goes for like what people were speculating it would be, I think this is such a great tool.
It's way different to what anybody figured it would be. I think it's outstanding because I like that they tell us not just game changers, here's X amount of cards. Because everyone thought it was going to be, if you run these 3 cards, you're in this bracket, you run these 3 cards. But now it's, here's the synergies, here's the type of play styles that are in there.
Yeah.
And here's what you should avoid to avoid moving into a higher bracket.
Yeah, instead of it being like this card equals this bracket, it's like here are patterns and shapes of decks in the abstract to be aware of and talk about. And then, yes, there's specific cards mentioned for good reason, but basically from brackets 1, 2, 3, it's like, this is the type of experience we're describing rather than this card equals this bracket.
Yeah.
And that's it. Because that is too prescriptive and just wouldn't work. There's too many fucking cards.
And yeah, exactly. There's too many cards and people would reject that.
Yeah.
Anyway, as we wrap up our episode today, if you have any thoughts, opinions, we do want to hear them.
Yeah.
Tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
Put the time code so we know where you're commenting to. Email us at casualcompliance@gmail.com. Go to Blue Sky, Casual Compliance. Go to TikTok. Go to any of our shorts and be like, hey, I saw the brackets video. Here's my thoughts. DM us. Get into us and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Because we'll tell them too. If you don't feel like you have a voice and you feel like because we make stuff that we have more of a voice, we'll also share our feelings of what we're seeing.
Yeah.
We're very reasonable people, mostly. Mainly Chili. I'm not.
I have my moments.
And I think it's really important that we thank Attack on Cardboard, Bandit, Ben Wheeler, Charlotte, Chicago, Charlotte Sable, Daquan Watson, Deco, however you want to say that one, sorry, Greg Sablin, Itetu, Josh Lee Kwai, Kristen Gregory, Lewis Stardust, Olivia Gobert Hicks, Rachel Weeks, Rebel Lily, Scott Larrabee, Tim Willoughby, and Toby Elliott. That is our current CFP, our Commander Format panel, our console free play. And thank you for the effort you've put in and what you are doing to move Magic forward in a way that I feel like the RC was moving anyway.
Yeah.
So it's very, very nice to have this out. And let us know what you think. Keep playing Magic, keep being friends, and
just have a chat.
Avoid bracket 5.
Unless that's where you want to be. And
if that's where you want to be there.
Go for it.
Absolutely. But you won't see me.
Miss me with that bracket 5 shit.
Miss me with that bracket 5 shit.
See ya.